This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
College don't mean shit. Y'all niggas, and you gonna be niggas forever, just like us, niggas. You're not niggas.
And with that said, welcome back to the show. I'm Kanye Tetsupo, and I would like to discuss why is it that everybody feels that we are niggas when we're not. Every sentence, every line that come out of our mouths is negative, and it's really hard to understand because that word started out as a very derogatory word, as a hateful word towards us. It was meant to degrade and shame us. It was meant to hurt. And then later on, we so-called took the word back and used it as a term of endearment. Now, in every rap song, in most R&B songs, you hear that word. And 90% of the conversations you have with fellow black people, whether it's being used as a negative word or not, that word always pops up. And in this day and age, that word has still power because white people turn around and call us thugs. They call us all these different words. The Indian word for that word is kefir. Another way that they say that word without actually saying it is sagging. When our parents be sagging. When you spell that backwards, what's it spell? And I can guarantee you that many of you will not punch. You will hesitate to hit a white person for saying that word because a lot of you gave white people permission to use that word. You've given them the word that you so-called took back and used as a term of endearment and gave it right back to them. The same people who created and invented the word. In the first place, we could not stop them from saying it because it's like I just said, they created the word, they invented it. So we couldn't stop them from saying it. And I don't believe that we will ever stop them from being say it. If they don't say it to our face or around us, they will say it behind our backs. They will say it on social media, and everything will just stay the same. But the fact that you giving them permission to say it in your face is an insult. And then when they say it to other black people, you're the reason why they get beat up, jumped, because many of us aren't going to take that. Many of us aren't just going to let them just say the word nigga. And you have to be the one to stop it. For one, it's never going to be a word as a term of endearment. Because if all you see is niggas, that's all you will think you will be and accomplish nothing. You have to think of yourself highly. You have to think of yourself as a king in a black man's term. You have to think of yourself as a queen as a black woman. You have to think of yourself highly. Because if all you see is niggas, And that's all everybody will ever be to you, to yourself. And whether you believe it or not, there is power in thought. There is so much power in thought. What you think and put out is what you get back. And if you teach that same mentality to your children or to your brothers or sisters, that's what they will think they are and what they will think they should be. That word is a very ugly and decrepit word, and it should have just died off so long ago, to the point where even now it should still be offensive to say. And sadly, it's not. White people have gotten so comfortable with saying it, they shout it out. Just some days ago, a white person at this black job, in his own feces, wrote on the wall in the bathroom, "nigger." That shows you how powerful that word is to them, and how powerful it will always be, whether you got the sharp ER or the A. That word still has a very negative meaning. Drake himself, as we've seen in the video, he, as a mixed man, has used the hard ER at first, and then later on started using the A. Many rappers such as Lil Wayne use that word all the time in their music. They try to rhyme that word, which you cannot rhyme nothing with that word at all. That word is very much going to be not our downfall, but it's going to lead to it, because someone, a white person, one day is going to say it, and it's going to be wrong. It's going to be to the wrong black person, and they're not going to warn them. They're not going to threaten them. They're just going to knock that person out. They're just going to straight up punch them, and people are going to record it, and many of us will laugh. I know I will, because no white person should ever use that word or feel they are entitled to, even though they created that word. Because you might have created a word, and black people might have tried to change the meaning, but still it's offensive, and no one should be using it at all. Yes, we have words that could possibly in the past mean or meant something like niggas, meaning coming from Ethiopia, being a ruler, but that's not where it's, but because Ethiopia was never colonized, because they were never enslaved, that word can never mean to them. So that word that they use, niggas, can never mean anything negative. But to the people that they did capture and colonize and bring to the Americas and to other places in the world, that word could be a very negative word, because they were captured and had their whole culture, their names, their identity stolen from them, because it comes from those. And you can't even use the words from even Kemet, which is modern day Egypt. You can't even use their word, which was for king also, Naga. You can't use those words, because those words have never had a negative aspect connected to them. The Nigerians and Niger were described as black, and as well the word Negro, but because those words have a little Greek into them, since the Greeks have studied in Kemet, that means the words have more association towards black people, since they used our language that they learned from us to incorporate into what they call blackness. So when they're using the word in a negative way, in a negative sense, whether it's the hard ER or with the A, it's still always and will be a negative word. And just today, one black man to another black man, I told him, we are not niggas. And as usual, the typical response I get from this person, he said, we are all niggas. It's the fact that he believes that is honestly truly sad, because that's the mind state of most black people these days. They don't see nothing else but a nigga, and that's why they are so comfortable with using that word and calling other black people that word, whether they are saying my niggas or you niggas over there. It also has had more negative attached to it, like pussy ass nigga. And it's crazy that this is what is in the music. So music has the blame for all of this, in a way, because these are the same lyrics that children are repeating over and over and over again to their so-called favorite rappers, who then go on and glorify killing other black people, and with other rappers talking about how they're drugging and doing drugs. This is the culture that has spawned through the rap industry, and these same rappers, many of them recognize this, but for that little bit of money, they still do it anyway, knowing how destructive it is towards us. And that's why the word will never have a positive meaning. It will always have a negative and degrading and absolutely shaming meaning. And the fact that we use it so much and so often, that it's absolutely crazy. As a kid, many of us recognize that we use the word so much. Even I have used it a lot back in middle school and in high school. When we were watching the Boondocks, that's all you hear, and that's what we repeated. But as you get older, you end up realizing and seeing the negative aspects to that word, and you grow self-conscious about using it. And even in music, you try to hold back on even saying the word, even though you know that word is going to be popping up at some point. So you try to listen to the clean version as an alternative as to listening to or hearing that word. And pretty much it just means death, in my opinion. Whenever you say that to another black person, you're just saying death. You don't care about them, you don't care about yourself, you don't care about nothing. It's a dead word and should never be used. And if we see or hear any white person using it, first thing we should do is knock them out. Yes, it's showing them that we don't want to hear that. And we're not going to take hearing it, because we are not niggas.